If you don't talk about something, there's no point in trying to stop it because people are not mind readers. Okay, so it really is only until you bring to the reality of somebody's bring the reality of the situation to somebody's attention regarding the acts of discrimination that still exist within several communities around the world, right? The problem is people, as you may know or know not, they are very capable of brushing the truth under the carpets. They will never tell you what they did or what has happened or what built the foundation of the Western world, but they will try their best to kind of pretend like it didn't happen while still inflicting the same levels of concerning hostility, right? So when you have this situation, people will believe you when they wave in your face and they set all these campaigns saying it will get better with no action, right? You need to speak about the present circumstances that I know a lot of people are afraid to address because there's a sense of judgment that could be inflicted should these people be called out for perhaps questioning what society has defined as the norm, right? But I think you will find that your only place in society, if you keep this going, will become worse and worse. First, it will start by disrespecting you, and then it will move to not only you, but your family. Then it will move to your property. Then it will pass on for generations and generations as it has done so. Such a ancient act that should really be brushed under the carpet is still being used by people claiming to be modern and pop and cool. They believe you when they give you a friendly gesture, and you respond back saying, "Oh, to your boss, I'm good." But you need to understand that if you want to keep lying to their face, and you don't want to adopt the behavior of professional people who have actually become noted in society for standing up against these oppressors, you need to speak, and you need to be raw and blatant about the situation that still inflicts many groups of people till this day, because until you bring it to their attention, they will keep tricking their mind into thinking that what they're doing is a sense of justice. And there has been no greater injustice done within the westernized society than the levels of infliction that have been occurring amongst people who have grown so concerningly over-fixated with taking out other groups against their will. That is a lack of humanity, and that is a lack of rights, and that is something that you are either going to align with the trickster, or you are going to call out that level of immorality to the point where you are capable of using your voice and using your platform and reducing your fear by understanding that the attempts in the past to stand up against these acts of aggression have been far more successful than the acts of aggression themselves, because the oppressed groups have been able to thrive and build economies in peace rather than conforming to the idea of being used and being mistreated and being disrespected. And the reality of the situation you'll find is when you start to develop this habit of reaching out, of requesting support, you only encourage more people to do so. And this is the one thing that's missing in certain societies, is that there is a lack of adequate judgments towards simple acts of mistreatments, because people are opportunists. Okay, they will, all right, contrary to who may try and oppose otherwise. Nobody wants to see you climb out of what they have been taught to believe about you. It does something to somebody's mental, and I mean it, and not in a good way. That kind of behavior can exhibit a concern to where more acts of violence can be noted. But when you find yourself in such a position, you got to understand that you I'm not saying that you need to inflict any acts of violence or oppression, but simply speaking up, okay, letting them know, and if they don't want to know, then letting the world know about the acts of disrespect that you've had to endure in this part of the world, all right, is crucial, because without letting anybody know, we're still going to be running into these acts of injustice, which are continually impacting the lives of many people to reach adequate funding for their homes due to oppression, and the right access to schools and resources, which should be readily available to all oppressed groups who have ever had to endure that level of mediocre citizenship. And since the American system has made it clear that they will not compensate the remaining masses who have been under this level of attack, it is very important that they leave these masses alone, and that they set up the necessary boundaries and conditions to prevent these acts of aggression from exhibiting further, and by establishing necessary laws that make it very strict that any acts of racism or any acts of targeting or isolating somebody because of their background or what they believe is a punishable offense, rather than something that can just be brushed off with a casual apology. The same way you cannot take a person's dog who they have adopted as a pet and kick it and brutalize it, the same way they have inflicted or should I say passed laws to protect these pets. It is very important that they understand that they are not dealing with pets when they are dealing with other groups of people, but they are dealing with specific people who have contributed meaningful labor and hard work and effort into society, and if they have enough common sense to protect a pet and to protect property rights, it is very important that they instill some common sense to make sure that the rights of other people are also protected.